like to talk all this talk about reparations, and they're trying to get this HR 40 bill passed, which pretty much is just like a legislation to conduct or to form like a commission to study um, American slavery and its impact on the African American community. I think that there has been so many studies about that over the past probably 40, 50 years that we don't need any more studies. At this point, they keep on talking about academics, and this is not about academics anymore, it's about action. I think that now is the time that America needs to right this wrong, and we don't want any more studies, we don't want any more academic talk, we don't need any more commissions formed, we don't need any more conversations. Right now, we need reparations. Slavery started in America in 1619. This is 2019. It's been 400 years, and it's time for us to be able to go and immigrate or migrate to a country of our choosing. Now, if some people choose to stay here in the United States, so be it. Let them have that option. But I think that the African American race as a whole, every individual, should have the option of whether they want to um, surrender their U.S. citizenship or denounce their U.S. citizenship and go somewhere else, go to another country where they feel like they can be treated a little bit more fairly. But I just think that it's time for action instead of academics. Everybody want to talk about academics, and we're past that now. It's time for the American government to compensate or reimburse or repay African American or African descendants of slaves money, monetary compensation, to um, leave the country or at least afford a higher quality of life that we've been given under this peculiar institution of racism, systemic oppression brought on by slavery. There's no other there's no other way around it. I mean, if they want to right the wrongs, then that's what they need to do. Um, Anything else is just it's not acceptable at this point. So that's my opinion. No more academics, no more studies, no more commissions, no more conversations, no more dialogue, none of that stuff. The only dialogue that we need to be talking about at this point is how much is owed to the African American community, um, and what we need to do as a community to come together. If some of us choose to leave um, the United States, then we need to come together as a race and decide where we're going to go and what we're going to do when we get there at this point. So that's my opinion. I don't want any more talk. If HR 40 does not support or include any type of monetary compensation, then I don't agree with it. So I give props to John Conyers for keeping the conversation alive and for what he's been doing to keep reintroducing the bill into legislation for 30 years until he retired. And I commend Sheila Jackson Lee for continuing to reintroduce the bill. Uh, Tanaishi Coates, I believe that's his name. Kudos to him for making the case for reparations um, in his congressional testimony as well as scholarly articles. But at this point, like I said, we don't need any more leaders or academics or the talented 10th under the whole W.E.B. Du Bois talented 10th. We don't need any more of that. Um, the American education system and all of these PhD African American intellectuals, they're not really, they got the information to us. We know the impact of slavery and the continuing um, system of oppression. We don't need to know anything else about it. We know and we live it every day as African Americans. And at this point, I think it's a time for action now. The American government needs to take action as far as reparations are concerned. And there's no other way around it. It's been 400 years, and I think it's time. You know, it's biblical prophecy, um, and it's only the right thing to do, America. So that's my opinion. As far as introducing legislation, the HR 40 bill, if it does not include any type of monetary compensation, then I don't agree with it. I don't agree with it at all. It's time to move past academics and into action at this point. So, peace.